Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday, July 7th. Well, some very heavy rainfall fell last night in a good part of the Mid-Atlantic region, stretching from D.C. area all the way to the Atlantic City, coastal region, and then up north through southeastern Pennsylvania, all of Philadelphia and the surrounding suburbs, even up into east central Pennsylvania. There was a training of showers and thunderstorms, meaning showers and heavy thunderstorms moved over the same area time after time over a several-hour period, and again, significant rainfall late yesterday into last night in a good part of the Mid-Atlantic region, and this poses a potential problem for the end of the work week because we have the chance for a very moist system moving up along the eastern seaboard as it pulls out of the southeast U.S. later this week, heads towards the east coast, and then up along the east coast. It could bring some heavy rainfall, let's say in the Friday time frame, really from late Thursday night into early Saturday. It looks like primarily focused along and east of I-95, and that's one thing we'll monitor over the next few days. There is a chance for afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms today into tonight, but a little bit less of a chance, a little bit less widespread activity expected later today. Sometimes when the atmosphere works hard and produces some tremendous shower and thunderstorm activity on one evening, the next day is a little bit calmer, and I expect it to be a little bit calmer, but because of high humidity levels, there certainly can be some shower and thunderstorm activity later today. And anytime you have these kind of high humidity levels, a shower or storm can produce some heavy rainfall. So here is a look at the moisture content. This is from the University of Wisconsin CIMSS website. Very nice product here that they call the total precipitable water. Another way to describe it is just basically looking at the water vapor, and a lot of moisture sitting over the southern U.S. at the moment here. And again, there is a low pressure area that will intensify over the next couple of days and move from the Georgia area to the Carolinas and then right up along the Mid-Atlantic coastline in the late Thursday night, Friday into Saturday time frame, and it could produce some late week heavy rainfall in places like Philadelphia, New York City, maybe even D.C. And given the already very well saturated grounds, it is certainly something that we'll monitor, something of concern. By the way, it could intensify enough once it reaches the warmer waters of the western Atlantic into a named tropical system, but whether or not it ultimately becomes a named tropical system, it has the potential to dump some heavy rainfall in the Mid-Atlantic region. And even today, even currently, you can see some high precipitable water amounts stretching over basically the same area that got the heavy rainfall late yesterday, from D.C. to the New Jersey coastline, the Delmarva Peninsula, all the way into southeastern PA. Some very high humidity levels as we begin the day on Tuesday, but very, very moist down here across the southern U.S. Well, the National Hurricane Center of NOAA is also monitoring this low pressure area over the southeast U.S. Again, positioned right now over Georgia. Very, very moist air mass down across the deep south. Very slow moving system that spells heavy rainfall amounts across the deep south, and then it'll make a move later in the week right up along the Atlantic seaboard, probably in about this position here by Friday afternoon or Friday evening, and it could result in some heavy rainfall, especially along and east of I-95. Let's say along and east of that red line right there along the route I-95, the corridor from D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City. And it very well could become a named tropical system once it pushes back out over the water, and even a slight chance it could intensify over land. That is not out of the question that a warm core system like this can intensify over land even before it reaches the warm waters of the western Atlantic. But again, in the late Thursday night, Friday, Saturday time period, that low pressure area, a coastal low, can produce some heavy rainfall in at least portions of the Mid-Atlantic region. Well, what's going on right now in terms of radar echoes across the country? This is a map from WSI's Intellicast.com. A little bit of residual shower and thunderstorm activity off the Delmarva Peninsula this morning. And again, there was some tremendous rainfall last night. Places like east central Pennsylvania, all of southeastern PA, all of Delmarva Peninsula, really extending in this region right here from east central Pennsylvania to the Jersey coastline, across the Delmarva Peninsula into the DC metro region, especially on the eastern half of the DC metro region. Very heavy rainfall, not much going on right now. I do expect at least isolated afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms today, not quite as widespread certainly as late yesterday and last night, but with this high humidity, any shower or storm that forms can produce some heavy rainfall. Meanwhile, down across the south, lots and lots of moisture. We just saw that on the precipitable water loop of imagery, and all associated with low pressure right now over Georgia. That'll start to turn to the north and right up along the Atlantic seaboard later in the week, and again could be in a position just off the mid-Atlantic coastline by later Friday, potentially producing some more heavy rainfall at week's end in the eastern half of the mid-Atlantic region. Well, let's take a look at last night's 6E GFS model run. First, we'll look at 500 millibar vorticity fields. These are areas in the atmosphere that represent spin in the atmosphere, basically areas of energy aloft that can create upward motion down at the surface, which leads to showers and thunderstorms this time of the year. Yesterday we had a vorticity max sliding through the mid-Atlantic region that helped to enhance the shower and thunderstorm activity, and it was very slow moving. And you can see again, we're in a very weak wind field in the upper part of the atmosphere right now over the mid-Atlantic region. These wind barbs right here show very, very little wind, even up in the middle part of the atmosphere, 500 millibars, which is about 18,000 feet or so, about the middle part of the atmosphere. Very light winds, and that poses potential problems for later today and tonight, in that any shower or storm that forms will again have lots of moisture to work with, and it will again be slow moving. That leads to significant rainfall amounts, and we'll have to watch for that later today, because again the grounds are very well saturated after yesterday's downpours. But let's move forward here and see again a little bit of a weak energy field aloft. Not quite as impressive as it was yesterday, but very high humidity levels, and anything that forms will be slow moving, so we'll have to watch out later today. We'll have to take a look at the radar by early afternoon to see what's developing out there. Notice a more impressive wave of energy down across the Carolinas, and ultimately this ends up moving, that low pressure area at the surface moves out over the western Atlantic warm waters, and here we go by the latter part of the week. This is now Thursday night time frame. You can see kind of a circulation right in this region right here, and that represents the location of that low pressure area. Again, it could intensify enough to become a named tropical system, but whether or not it becomes named, it can produce some heavy rainfall, especially along the New Jersey coastline, maybe down to the Delmarva Peninsula. We're talking centered on the Friday time frame, but really anywhere from late Thursday night into early Saturday. Let's keep moving forward here, and here we go. Here's that system by Friday afternoon, just along or east of the New Jersey coastline. And that's not the end of the story once that goes on by over the early part of the weekend in terms of rainfall for the Mid-Atlantic region. Notice here another very impressive trough in the upper part of the atmosphere by early Saturday. That slides on in, so that will continue the chances for showers and thunderstorms in the Mid-Atlantic region later Saturday night, into the day on Sunday, and probably into Monday as well. So very wet weather pattern continues for much of the eastern third of the nation over the next several days, and it can be enhanced by a coastal low at the end of the work week. Well, let's now see how all this translates at the surface. These are the surface forecast maps from the 6Z operational GFS. A little bit of residual precipitation early this morning here across the Delmarva Peninsula east to the coast. That will continue to result in some isolated showers and thunderstorms during the middle of the day, maybe a little bit more enhanced coverage during the afternoon into the early evening. Again, do not expect as widespread of a shower and thunderstorm pattern or as intense this afternoon and evening compared to what we experienced late yesterday and last night. But again, given the high humidity levels and the lack of winds in the upper part of the atmosphere, we can have some heavy rainfall later today. And look at this down the southeast U.S. Low pressure sitting and spinning, really slow moving over the southeast U.S. This is the forecast map for Tuesday night, and that becomes a bona fide low pressure area over Georgia by early tomorrow and starts to make a move to the north and east. Here we go now by late Thursday night into early Friday, and it's beginning to intensify just off the mid-Atlantic coastline over relatively warm waters of the western Atlantic. Could become a named tropical system, and then we'll have to watch as it pulls up right along the coastline here by Friday afternoon, sitting near the New Jersey, southern New Jersey coastline, east part of the Delmarva Peninsula. Could throw some heavy rain, especially back to I-95 and points to the east to the coast here. Western part of the mid-Atlantic region might escape the impact of the coastal low, but look at this. This is that upper level trough that is squeezing in from the west. So everybody ultimately gets some showers and thunderstorms in the mid-Atlantic region at the end of the work week. Let's keep moving forward. And here's that coastal low, moves up along the New England coastline by early Saturday. And then there's some showers and thunderstorms associated with that upper level trough that will continue the threat for showers and thunderstorms in the mid-Atlantic region, in the northeast U.S. later in the weekend and going into the early part of next week. So still a very moist weather pattern for the next several days for much of the eastern third of the nation. And again, it can be enhanced by a coastal storm at the end of the work week, probably in the late Thursday night, Friday, early Saturday time period, and we will monitor that possibility closely over the next few days. That's it for now. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.